Welcome to the shed. Our reading today is Psalm 56. And it's another of those psalms where we are told the historical background to it, according to the title. It's a psalm of David when the Philistines had seized him in Gath. David is on the run. Nothing unusual in these days of David. And he's on the run from Saul now. We are back to the time of Saul. And he seeks refuge in Philistia, the land of the Philistines, in Gath, King Achish. Well, it must have been a moment of panic that he decided to do that. He's in trouble, so he panics. And he goes down to Gath and seeks refuge there. But when the advisors to the king said, "Hey, you know who this is, don't you? This is King David." And when David heard that the king knew who he was, he pretended to be insane. Oh, it's such a sad story. You can read about it there in 1 Samuel chapter 21, verses 10 to 15. A sad time. So David panics and he does something silly. But then he comes back to remembering who he is and who God, more important, who God is. I'm going to read a few verses in Psalm 56. Be merciful to me, O God, for men hotly pursue me. All day long they press their attack. My slanderers pursue me all day long. Many are attacking me in their pride. When I am afraid, I will trust in you. In God, whose word I praise. In God I trust. I will not be afraid. What can mortal man do to me? I want to pick out the word man there. In the original, it means someone who is a mere mortal. And the emphasis is on the frailty and the weakness of man. And David suddenly panics and he's afraid of man. So on the one hand, we got the frailty of man, but then we read of God. In God, whose word I praise. In God I trust. I will not be afraid. You take our eyes off man and turn your gaze to God, and you see there the real imbalance. It's the greatest mismatch of all time. Man, for all his boasting and pride and power, is so frail compared to the majesty and the glory of God. And the amazing thing is that God sees all that's happening to David. He says to him, record my lament, list my tears on your scroll. Are they not in your record? Isn't it amazing that when we weep, when we cry, when we're in terrible straits, it's all on God's record. He sees it all. He knows it. And what is more, he moves to bless us and to help us. And David was reminded of how great God is. And compared to the frailty of human flesh, there's no match at all. When I was reading this, I was enjoying that old hymn by Robert Grant. Lovely hymn. Oh, worship the King, all glorious above. Oh, gratefully sing his power and his love, our shield and defender, the Ancient of Days, pavilioned in splendor and girded with praise. But compare that now to what he writes in another verse. Frail children of dust, and feeble as frail, in thee do we trust, nor find thee to fail. Thy mercies how tender, how firm to the end, our Maker, Defender, Redeemer, and Friend. So if you're in straits at the moment, don't know which way to turn. Oh, and in that panic, and it's easy to say don't panic, but when we're in trouble, sometimes we do panic. Oh, the Lord help us, and remember that we are known by God, that he loves us. Everything that happens to us is in his record. And let's be reminded of the greatest mismatch of all time. What can man do? And what can God do? The Lord bless us. And may we all learn more and more to trust in him. God bless his word to us today. Amen.